Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new, welcome. I have a different type of video for you today that I'm very excited to share. But before that, I just want to announce that we've finally hit 300 subscribers. Thank you so much for joining my little corner of the internet. You all inspire me to keep making these videos, and I am so excited for what the future holds for this channel. Thank you so much. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the video. Before I jump into my review of the K-pop fantasy novel Apple Hair by Erin Ho, I just want to make it clear that everything I'm about to say is my own personal opinion, and I do not condone personal attacks or harassment towards the author of this book. I am strictly critiquing the contents of the book only. I do not know nor have anything against the author. If you have also read this book and have things to say, please keep the comments respectful. Okay. So I came across this book completely by fluke through an Instagram ad. I was intrigued by the beautiful cover and thought the concept sounded interesting. As someone who loves K-pop and loves a good fantasy novel, this seemed right up my alley. Also, upon further research on the author's website, they seem to be strongly influenced by various K-pop groups, particularly TXT. I'm a big fan of TXT and their established lore and aesthetic, so that further intrigued me. Well, I read the book over the course of about a week, and I have thoughts. So I'm going to break down this review in 3 parts. Firstly, I'm going to give a summary of the book and the characters, and then I'm going to discuss what I liked, what I didn't like, and some final thoughts. I will be touching on the main plot points in this review, so there will be spoilers, just to warn you in advance if you plan on reading it. The book takes place in Hawaii and follows 5 Asian American boys as they train at a Hawaii-based K-pop company called Awe Entertainment in preparation to debut as a pop group called Apple Hair, hence the name of the book. The story rotates between the POVs of the 5 group members, Van, Corin, Caden, Saya, and David. As their debut day approaches, the boys start experiencing some unexplainable supernatural happenings at the company. These strange happenings are mainly visual and auditory hallucinations. One of the earliest instances of this is Corin seeing a black cat in the mirror at their dance studio. Corin deals with schizophrenia and manic episodes, so he's not sure at first if the other guys can see this or just him. Soon enough, he learns that the other members are in fact also experiencing these strange events. Most notably, the group starts having dark visions and hearing a voice telling them that they'll fail, and is putting doubt in their heads about their career. Also, as a backdrop to all of this going on, other people at the company and on the island as a whole start having dreams about the group, and everyone seems to just know them already even though they haven't officially debuted. Later in the book, the group's manager gifts them with this journal, and they discover that whatever they write in this journal comes to life, and they can use it to kind of manipulate what's going on around them. They start using this to counteract the negative visions and feelings they're having, and decide that this is going to be the vehicle they're going to use to write their own story, and create a lore for themselves and their fandom. Eventually, we find out that the force behind all these negative visions and hallucinations is the company CEO Merlin Kim. It's not fully explained in the book, but judging by his name, I'm assuming he's a wizard, and that's how he was able to get into the members' heads about their debut, and it seems that everything was kind of like a test. The group makes their official debut, and then that's how the story ends. So let's start out with what I actually did like about this novel. Firstly, the name. I like the name Apple Hair, and it is what first caught my attention because it's so K-pop sounding and it's cute. If you're not aware, the term Apple Hair is in reference to this hairstyle that male K-pop idols often wear, usually just casually to keep their hair out of their face during dance rehearsals. It's a very niche reference, but catchy and easy to remember. It honestly sounds like a name a real K-pop group would have. Another positive aspect about this novel was the diversity. As crazy as it is, diversity is still something that is lacking in young adult novels, especially fantasy, so it was a pleasant surprise to see quite a bit of representation in this story. In terms of ethnicity, the members of Apple Hair are all from different Asian backgrounds as opposed to all being Korean American, which was a nice touch and made sense in the Hawaii setting since the island does have a very diverse Asian diaspora. There are also various races represented in the secondary characters like the group's managers and coaching staff. In other aspects of identity, 2 of the members of Apple Hair, David and Saya, are queer, and you actually see them come out to each other in the story, which is really sweet. Also, I forgot to mention this in the summary, but some of the members of the group deal with personal afflictions or disabilities, which is another means of representation. Leader Van deals with bouts of mutism when under high stress, Corin has schizophrenia, and Caden has scoliosis. I appreciate the author's effort to showcase these types of lived experiences. In terms of writing style, there were some lines that I found quite beautiful, such as on page 113 when we're in Caden's POV and he's describing the group's training regime, and he says, "The guys and I practiced in the same manner of a scholar reading 1,000 books." It's a simple line, but very beautifully said. The author definitely has the ability to be poetic, and whenever instances of that appeared on a page, it was very lovely to read. So, unfortunately, the bad about this novel eclipsed the good in my opinion, and a lot of this comes down to the style and overall execution of the story. This is an independently published work, and you can tell that it would have been a lot better if it had gone under a few rounds of professional editing and restructuring. Firstly, we need to talk about the use of multiple perspectives. So I'm not against having more than one POV in a book. A lot of the current popular romance novels switch back and forth between the two main love interests so we can fully understand the relationship from both parties. Another example of how this can work is in mystery novels. I recently read The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, and that book is a closed room murder mystery, so the perspective switches between the different tenants of the apartment, who are all potential suspects in the murder. The reason why multiple perspectives work in those books is because the characters are so different in terms of tone and characteristics, so you don't mix them up. In Apple Hair, there wasn't enough that differentiated the members of the group from each other to warrant this story structure. Throughout the entire book, I would constantly forget whose perspective I was currently reading, and I'd have to go back to the beginning of the chapter to remind myself. I think that the author should have chosen one of the boys to be the main character and the book be solely from his perspective, with the others being supporting characters. In terms of plot, there were just too many things left vague and unexplained. While it seems that this story is actually going to be a series with more answers to come, there are things that were brought up and then never mentioned again. At one bizarre point, we find out Caden is addicted to explicit content. I'm not saying the word here because I don't want this video to get flagged, but it's just mentioned in passing and never fully explored on a deeper level. I think that's my main issue with the book. A lot of things stay very surface level. I wish the struggles, insecurities, and the growing brotherhood of the Apple members were all explored more, since that is meant to be the heart of the book. Another thing I want to bring up is that Hawaii is such a beautiful setting for a story, and yet I think it was such a missed opportunity in this book. The majority of the story takes place within the walls of the entertainment company, so the setting of Hawaii added very little to the overall plot. The story could have taken place in any other place and it wouldn't have really changed everything. For me personally, I like when the settings of books are like characters within themselves and add rich context to the story. So my final rating for this book is 2 out of 5 stars. While I appreciated the creativity of the concept and the fact that the author poured their love for K-pop into their writing, the story just fell flat, unfortunately. As I mentioned earlier, this is an independently published novel, and I think it's so great that the author was brave enough to put their art out there, so I do applaud them for that. The novel just personally didn't work for me. If you're interested in checking it out for yourself though, I'll have the links below. It's available in both physical format as well as on Kindle Unlimited. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think about this style of video and if you'd be interested in seeing more book reviews. If there are other K-pop related novels you think I should read, please leave your recommendations down below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.